Alright, this is a tutorial for the chapter 5 and 6 review test 3 intermediate algebra. Let's go over the number 1 here. We're trying to simplify the fractions, and therefore we need to multiply these two expressions. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. X cubed times x5, we need to add the exponents. That would be x8. And then y cubed times y5, we also have to add the exponents, and that would be y to the power 8. So this is all about question number 1. Let's go to question number 2. On question number 2, we need to divide using the quotient rule, and that means we have to subtract the numerator minus denominator. So negative divided by positive is negative. 18 divided by 6 is 3. A to the power 6 divided by a to the power 3, we need to subtract. 6 minus 3 is 3. B to the power 7 divided by b to the power 5, subtract. 7 minus 5 is 2. And c to the power 15 divided by c to the power 7, subtract. 15 minus 7 is 8. And that would be the final answer for the second exercise. Let's go to number 3. Here we have to divide also using the quotient rule, but we have to make sure we end up with positive exponents. 6 divided by 2 is 3. A minus 6 over a power 2, we need to subtract the numerator minus the denominator. Also b to the power 5 minus the denominator. Notice that the denominator is negative 3, so we have to have a minus for the quotient and negative 3 for the exponent of b. Let's simplify. This is 3a, negative 6, negative 2 is negative 8. Minus times minus is plus, so b to the power 8. Finally, we're going to move this to the denominator to make it positive. So this would be 3b to the power 8 divided a to the power 8. So that would be the solution of this expression. Nothing else we can do about this, and that would be the final answer. Let's move to number 4. Let's try to do number 4. Number 4, we have to change the scientific notation to standard notation. Multiplying by 10 to the power 7, we have to move the decimal 7 digits to the right. So here we go, 9, 3, 1. Let's add some zeros here. Then we're going to move the decimals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so we don't need those zeros. So the answer would be 8, 9, 3, 1. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me just remove those commas, and I can do this from here, and this would be 89,310,000. Okay, so adding 7 multiplying by 10 to the power 7, you need to move the decimals to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you end up with 4 zeros and 8,931. And that would be the final answer. And we read this as 89,310,000. Let's go to number 5. In this problem here, we need to again simplify. And what we can do here, the best way is to flip the fraction and make it positive exponent. So let's go ahead and start with this. We have 20 x to the power 6 y to the power negative 1 divided by 10xy cubed, and all of this becomes to the power plus 4. So to make this exponent positive, we have to flip the fraction, move the 10xy cubed to the denominator, move the 20x to the power 6y to the negative 1 to the numerator. And let's start by simplifying. 20 divided by 10 is 2. x6 divided by x6 minus 1 is 5. So that would be x to the power 5. And y to the minus 1, if you move it to the denominator, it becomes y to the plus 1, and then 1 plus 3 becomes y to the power 4. All of this raised to the power 4. So notice this time I use a different method of dividing. Rather than doing minus 1, minus 3, we get a negative 4, and then move it to the denominator to make it plus 4. I move the y to the minus 1 to the denominator, it becomes y to the plus 1. And then when you multiply, you add 3 plus 1, and that's how I get the y to the power 4. So 20 over 10 is 2, x to the power 6 over x is x to the power 5. And then I move this to the denominator to become y to the power 4. Now I want to raise each one to the power 4. Power to power we multiply. 2 to the power 4. X to the power multiply 5 times 4, that would be 20. And then 4 times 4 would be 16. And if you multiply 2 by itself 4 times, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 2 is 16. X to the power 20 and y to the power 16 would be the final answer. Cannot be simplified anymore. Let's go to number 6, and number 6 is about the degree. We want to find the degree of the given 4-term polynomial. So notice here the degree of this term is 2 plus 1 because y to the power 1 and 2 would be 3. The same here, x to the power 1 plus 2 is 3. This one is 1, but this one is 5. So we're going to pick 5 as this is of course a 4-term polynomial. Okay, we can simplify this. So x squared y minus 2xy squared plus 2x plus y to the power 5. None of these are like terms, so we cannot combine them. So this is a 4-term polynomial, monomial, binomial, trinomial, so none of these would be the option. And the degree of the polynomial is 5 because the highest exponent among each term. This one is 3, this one is 3, this one is 1, and this one is 5. And by 1 because x to the power 1. This one, x to the power 1 plus 2 is 3, and 2 plus 1 is 3, so 5 is the highest exponent. Let's try number 7. Perform the indicated operation. So here we have to combine. We need to combine like term, but we have to first change all the signs inside this parentheses because we have a negative sign here. So let's go ahead and do that first. And so minus 3x cubed minus 2x cubed. We can put them next to each other. This way it would be easier to combine. So minus 3x cubed, and then we have minus 2x cubed. Then you have 5x squared, and negative is positive. 5x squared plus 11x squared. And then here we have 8x minus negative 9. That would be a positive 9x plus 8x. So here we have an 8x plus 9x. And then we have 6 minus 3 would be 6 plus 3, which would be 9. 6 plus 3 is 9. So here we can combine. This is negative 5x cubed. This is 16x squared. And this is 17x. And plus 9 is the final answer. So again, negative 3x cubed, negative 2x cubed, that's negative 5x cubed. 5x squared plus 11 is 16x squared. 8x plus 9 is 17x. And 6 plus 3 is 9. Let's try number 8. Number 8, we need to multiply. And the easiest way to multiply is to go like this. S minus 3, 2s plus 5. I want you to learn this method. You go s times 2s. Of course, we have an s to the power 1. So this would be 2s squared. Then you multiply negative 3 times 5, which is negative 15. Then you do the outer 5s minus 6s. This is negative 1s. That would be the final answer. So first multiply s times 2s. That would be 2s squared. S times 5. That would be negative 3 times 5. That would be negative 15. Then do the outer. This is called the outer, which is s times 5. And the inner, negative 3 times 2s, negative 6s. Plus 5s is negative s. And that would be the final answer. Let's try number 9. Again, here we have to multiply. And we can multiply using the same method. Or we can do now like 8x minus 6 times x cubed minus x minus 8. So 8x times x cubed, we add the exponent, that would be 8x to the power 4. And 8x times negative x is going to be negative 8x squared. And 8x times negative 8, negative 8 times 8, 64x. Then we do the same with negative 6, multiply it by each of the 3 terms. Negative 6x cubed, negative times negative positive, 6x. Negative times negative positive, 6 times 8, 48. Okay, and the final answer, we have 8x to the power 4 by itself, minus 6x cubed also by itself. So this is the first one. We don't have any term with x cubed. X squared also, we have only 8x squared. And minus 64 plus 6. These are the only like terms. Since these are like term, opposite sign, we subtract. And 64 minus 6 is 58, but this is more negative. So minus 58x. And therefore we are left only with plus 48. That would be the final answer. Let's try number 10. Multiply using the special product method. So we can make sure that we don't distribute the 2 this time, but we have to multiply 2x minus y times 2x minus y. Again, we can multiply first 2x times 2x, which is 4x squared. Multiply negative y times negative y, which is plus y squared. Then we can do the outer, negative 2xy, negative 2xy, which is negative 4xy. And that would be the final answer. Number 11. Let's try number 11. Also, we have to multiply. So 7w times 7w is 49w squared. 3g times negative 3g is negative 9g squared. But then the outer is negative 21wg and the inner is plus 21wg, and they will cancel each other. So this would be the final answer. 49w squared minus 9g squared. This is called difference of two squares. This is what we call difference of two squares, and that's how we factor it. 7w plus g, 7w minus 3g. Let's go to 12. Factor the following trinomial. So we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 20. Since there is no common factor, I'm going to open 4 parentheses. How do we get 2x squared? How do we get 2x squared? Is going to be 2x times x. So that's easy because 2 is a prime number. The only way we can multiply 2 is 2 times 1. So let's try 2x times x. That's the only way we can get 2x squared. How do we get negative 20? That's either 4 times 5, 10 times 2, 20 times 1. But we want 3x in the middle. That's the critical part. So if I do, let's see here, 2 times 5, 10, and 4x, that's going to be 14x or 6x. That's not going to work. If I do 4x here and 5x here, that's going to work. because look what happens here. Now 2x times 4 is 8, and minus 5x, that's going to give me 3x. So because this is minus, I'm going to have minus plus. Minus times plus is minus. And notice that the outer is going to give me plus 8x, and the inner minus 5x, and the sum is plus 3x. So always try to work on the first term, then the last term. Finally, you have to match so that you get the middle terms 3x, like in this case. I had to switch around the 4 and the 5 until I got the 3x as the sum of the outer and the inner. The outer is 8x, the inner is negative 5x. 8x minus 5x is plus 3x. The best way to learn this material is with practice. Make sure to practice as much as you can of this material. And the answer would be 2x minus 5, x plus 4, or order is not important. You can start by x plus 4 times 2x minus 5. Keep checking, making sure this is right. 2x times x is 2x squared. And 2x times 4 is 8x, minus 5x is 3x, and negative 5 times 4, negative 20. Okay, let's go to the next question. Okay, we have to factor also, another one here. Do the same method we did. So we have 4x squared plus 27x minus 40. Notice there is no common factor. 27 is 3 times 3 times 3. 4 is 2 times 2. So let's start by having 4 parentheses. Now since I need a big number here in the middle, I'm going to try 4x times x. Instead of 2x times x, let me try 4x times x first. Now I need a negative here, so one of them is going to be negative, the other positive, and I have a 40. 40 is 8 times 5, 10 times 4, and I need a 27 in the middle. So let me see here. If I do 4, if 40 is going to be 8 times 5 or 10 times 4, and let's see which one will work best here. So 4 times 5, if I try 5 here and 8 here, this is going to be, okay, so maybe we should try 8 here. This is going to work. 8 here and 5 here. I'll tell you why. 4 times 8 is 40. No, it's 4 times 8 is 32. And 5 minus 5 will be 27. So here we're going to have a plus 8 here and minus 5 here. And again, this is going to be 4 times 8, which is 32x. And this is a negative 5x. And what is 32 minus 5? It is 27x. So it's a matter of switching and trying, you know. You can try like 8 times 5 and then change it, but then try to do all the options. Move the 8 here, put the 8 here, put the 5 here, put the 8. You know, keep switching until you end up with the middle term, which is 27x like we did here. And again, if you do the outer, you get 32x minus 5x. That will bring you the 27x. Make sure you satisfy also 4x times x is 4x squared, and negative 5 times 8 is negative 40. Let's try number 14. This is difference of two cubes. And make sure you remember the pattern. A cube minus b cube is a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. And if you try to compare it to v cube minus 2 cube. Why? Because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. But now I can say, okay, this is my a. This can be as a because this is v cube. And this is my b. Okay? So here in the pattern, you're going to replace a by v. So that would be v. And replace b by 2. Same thing here. A squared would be v squared plus 2v plus 2 squared would be 4. So first of all, write the the formula a cubed minus b cubed equals a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. Bring this difference of two cubes here and make sure you have a is v and b is 2, because 8 is 2 cubed, and then substitute in the formula a equals v, b equals 2, and you will end up with the answer. This is not a prime. It is not prime. It has a factor, and you can factor it. You can write the answer here as v minus 2 times v squared plus 2v plus 4. Let's try number 15. Solve the equation. So when you solve an equation, after factoring, you have to do one more step and find the solution. So here we have 12x squared plus 5x minus 25 equal to 0. Again, we don't have a GCF because 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. This is 5, and this is 5 times 5. So let's go ahead and factor first, and then we can find the solution later. So we have 12x. What is 12x? It could be 6 times 2. It could be 3 times 4. And it could be 12 times 1. So let's try, if you try 6 times 2. I mean, if it doesn't work, then you can try 3 times 4. And here we have the only option is 5 times 5. And let's see, notice that this is 30. This would be 30, and this is 10, so there is no way we can get the 5. So when we do 6 times 5, that's 30, that's 10. And even if we switch, it's not going to work. So 6x will not work. So let's try something else here. Let's try 3 times 4. See, maybe that would be better. So 3 times 4. Okay, so this is 15 and this is 20. That's going to work. So make sure that this is minus 5 and this is plus 5. The reason for that, because here we are going to get negative 15x, and here we're going to get plus 20x. And what is 20 plus negative 15? It would be 5x, and we get the middle term. So basically, as I did, I tried 6 times 2, it didn't work, so I tried 3 times 4, and 25 is only 5 times 5, which is good. So it worked this time. And I make sure that the outer negative 15 plus 20 will give me the plus 5x. And now all I have to do is equate each one to 0. So if you equate this one to 0 and solve for x, you subtract. First, you subtract 5 from both sides, and then you get 3x equals 5. Divide both sides by 3. You get x equals 5 over 3. That would be the first one. And if you solve the second one, you're going to get x equals 5 over 4 using the same method. So one of them is 5 over 3 and the other one is 5 over 4. Let's try number 16. And again, here we have to do the same thing. We're going to have to, if this was 0, it would be a very simple problem, but this is not 0, so we have to FOIL and then factor. So let's FOIL. X times x is x squared. X times negative 6, we have negative 6x plus 4x, and that's a negative 2x. 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. And then I want to move this to the right or to the left side. I want to change it to plus 21. And therefore, now I have a simple trinomial, x squared minus 2x minus 3 equal to 0. See, when you don't have a number other than 1 here, if you have a 1, that's an easy one because this is going to be the product. This is going to be the sum of the two numbers. The product is negative 3 and the sum is negative 2. So when you factor, it will be much easier because now all you have to do is x minus 3, x plus 1. Notice that negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, and negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. And therefore, you all satisfy. And to make this equal to 0, then x equals 3, because you can add 3 to both sides. And if you make this equal to 0, then subtract 1 from both sides, and x would be negative 1. And these are the two solutions for this problem, 3 and negative 1, and make sure that you put 3 or negative 1, put a comma, and then list both of them. So you separate them. You don't have to put x because they already have an x here. Let's try number 17. Here we have to multiply and simplify. So the best way is not to start the multiplication straight across, to factor first and then reduce, then multiply. So factor, reduce, multiply. 4 is the common factor here, so we are left with x plus 1. 6 is the common factor here, we are left with 6 times x plus 2. 6 times x, 6x, 6 times 2, 12. Here, 2 is the common factor, and we are left with x plus 2, 2x and 4. Here we have 2 as common factor, but here we have a difference of 2 squares. We have to be careful here. X squared minus 1, this can also be factored to x minus 1, x plus 1. So always the difference of 2 squares, you're going to do 1 minus, 1 plus. And let's simplify. This x plus 1 cancels with this x plus 1. This x plus 2 cancels with this x plus 2. Now this 2 cancels with this 2. And divide this 1 by 2, you get 2. Divide 6 by 2, you get 3. So we are almost done. The numerator is left with 2. The denominator is left with 3 times x minus 1. That would be the final answer. Everything else cancelled out, and we are left with 2 over 3 times x minus 1. Let's try number 18. On number 18, we have to multiply and divide. And this is, again, the same method we're going to use. We're going to factor, and then reduce, divide, multiply. So 3x squared minus 5x minus 2. Let's try to factor the first one. And therefore we have to go with 3x squared, which is 3x times x. Now we have 2 here, so it's going to be 2 times 1. So if we put the 2 here and the 1 here, this is going to bring you a 6, and this is going to bring you an x. We need negative 5x, so if you put the negative 5 here, that's going to bring you an outer of negative 6x, an inner of 1x, and 6x minus 6x plus x will bring me the negative 5x. So the first one is all set. Let's try the second one. Product is negative 2 and the sum is 1. So that's going to be y plus 2, y minus 1, because the product 2 times negative 1 will give me negative 2, and 2 plus negative 1 will give me plus 1. So that's done. Same thing here. We have the product negative 5 and the sum is 4. So we're going to go with y plus 5 and y minus 1, because 5 times negative 1, the product is negative 5, plus 5 minus 1, the sum is 4. So that's how we factor. For this one, we have 12x squared. We have a 1 here. So you have a 7. So 12 is 3 times 4. Remember that, 3 times 4 and 7. So the best way is to choose 3 times 4 in this case. So we're going to choose 3x times 4x for the 12x squared. And then 1, of course, we have no option but 1 times 1. And everything is plus, so we don't need to think about the negative sign. Notice the outer is 3x, the inner is 4x, and the sum is 7x. So we got to satisfy the middle term. Now here I want to multiply and flip, because we have division, so I want to multiply and flip. Put this in the numerator and let's factor it at the same time. So we have 8x squared minus 10x minus 3. So if I go 4 times 3, 12, so that would be the best deal. Let's try 4x times 2x for the 8x squared. Then this is S3. If I put the 3 here and the 1 here, I'm going to get the outer 12, the inner 2, and the difference is 10. So let's make sure we have a minus here, so that's going to give me negative 12x plus 2x. That's going to give me the negative 10x, so I satisfied the middle term. And the last one is going to be a 7x squared minus 12x minus 4. I love the 7 because it's prime. I don't have to worry about anything here, I just have to put 7x times x, right? Because that's the only option to get 7x squared. Now, how do I get the 4? I can do 2 times 2, and that's the best thing in this case, because look what happens here. The 7x times 2 is going to give me 14, and then minus 2 is going to give me my 12. So let's put a negative here, a positive here, because minus 14x plus 2x, that's going to give me my 12x. So I'm good. So let's try to simplify now. Should be able to simplify a lot. 4x plus 1, 4x plus 1. Okay, 3x plus 1, 3x plus 1. Y minus 1, y minus 1. X minus 2, x minus 2. And I don't see anything else. So we're left with y plus 5 times 2x minus 3 over y plus 2 times 7x plus 2. And notice we cannot simplify any further, and this is the final answer. And you may multiply here and leave it in the product form. I mean, like you can multiply 2xy and then FOIL both of these and leave it in a FOIL form. Let's try number 19. Here we have to subtract. So we have to subtract. Notice that this is difference of two squares, x minus 5, x plus 5. And this is also, the product is 25 and the sum is 10, so 5 times 5. Alright, so let's find the lowest common denominator here. We have x plus 5 times x plus 5, or x plus 5 squared, and here we have x plus 5. So we're going to take the one with the highest exponent. So that would be x plus 5 squared. Again, this can be written as x plus 5 squared. Here we have x minus 5. We don't have x minus 5. We also take x minus 5. So when you find the lowest common denominator, if they are common, you take the one with the highest exponent. If they are not common, you just take it anyways. Notice that on the first one, it's not very similar anymore, because here we have x plus 5 more. We need to multiply up and down by x plus 5. So let's multiply the 7 by x plus 5. 7x plus 35. Here we have an x minus 5 that is not here. So let's multiply the top by 2 times x minus 5. So minus 2 times x, and minus 2 times negative 5, and that would be plus 10. So if you simplify 7x minus 2x, that would be 5x. 35 plus 10 is 45. And this is over x minus 5 and x plus 5 to the quantity squared. And that's the final answer. We cannot simplify anymore, because if you factor the 5 here, you're going to get 5 into x plus 9, and nothing will simplify. So we can leave it like that. Let's try number 20. Again, here we have to subtract, and we have to take a common denominator. Notice that the first one is x plus 2. This one is x plus 2 times x plus 2, because the product is 4, the sum is 4. And this is difference of two squares. So let's rewrite the whole thing. 8 over x plus 2 plus 9 over x plus 2 squared. Because this is the product is 4 and the sum is 4. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 plus 2 is 4. So x plus 2 times x plus 2, which will give me x plus 2 quantity squared. And this is the difference of two squares. So that's going to be x minus 2, x plus 2. Let's find the common denominator. We have x plus 2 squared, and we have x plus 2, x plus 2. So we take x plus 2 squared. We have x minus 2, and there is nowhere x minus 2, so we take x minus 2. So that would be the lowest common denominator here. Notice on the first one we have only x plus 2, but here we have x plus 2 times x minus 2, which is x squared minus 4. And so we have to multiply 8 by x squared minus 4. In here we are missing the x minus 2, so we multiply 9 by x minus 2. Here we are missing an x plus 2, so we multiply x by x plus 2. And we're almost done, so let's do 8x squared minus 1x squared, right? This is the x squared term. 8 minus 1 is 7x squared. Let's try the x now. We have a 9x, and here we have minus 2x, right? 9x minus 2x, that's a 7x. The only thing left is 8 times 4, 32 minus 18. So what is 32 minus 18? That's a 14. And that would be plus 14. And then the same denominator is not going to change. X plus 2, quantity squared, x minus 2 would be the denominator. Let's go over this one more time. We have 8x squared minus x squared. That's going to be 7x squared. We have 9 times x and then minus 2x. That's going to be 7x. Minus 32, okay, I made a mistake here. Minus 32, and then we have minus 18. These are like signs, so we have to add them. 32 plus 18, that's a 0, 4 and 1, 5, and that would be negative 50. Remember that? Negative 18, negative 32. Both of them are negative, so we're going to add them. 18 plus 32 is 50. And we save the sign, and that's negative 50, and that would be the final answer. All right, let's try number 21. This is where we have a complex fraction, and the best way to simplify this complex fraction is multiplying the numerator and denominator by the lowest common denominator. Between x squared and x, the lowest common denominator is x squared. Let's multiply the top by x squared and the bottom by x squared. So if you multiply x squared times 3 over x, x squared and x will cancel. We end up with x on the numerator here times 3 would be 3x. And x squared times 5 would be 5x squared. Denominator. X squared times 9 over x squared, the x squared and the x squared cancel, so we end up with 9 minus 25 times x squared. Equal. The numerator has x in common factor, so let's factor 3 plus 5x. X times 3 is 3x, x times 5x, 5x squared. This is difference of two squares, so it's going to be 3 minus 5x and 3 plus 5x. Of course, these two will cancel. So the final answer would be x over 3 minus 5x. Let's try number 22. It's the same problem. We need to simplify the complex fraction. Again, the common denominator is 25x. So let's multiply the top and the bottom by 25x. Denominator 25x. So if you multiply here by 25x, the 25 is going to cancel, and x times x would be x squared minus. If you multiply 25x times 1 over x, the x will cancel, and then you end up with negative 25. Difference of two squares. Denominator. 25x times 1 is 25x. And 25x and x here will cancel, so 25 times 5 is 125. equal difference of two squares. So that would be x minus 5, x plus 5. Common factor is 25, and that would be x minus 5. So x minus 5 will cancel, and the final answer would be x plus 5 over 25. Try number 23. Divide by a monomial. So we have to split the fraction into 3 fractions. Each one will have 4x squared y in the denominator. 8x squared y squared over 4x squared y plus 12x y squared over 4x squared y minus 8y squared over 4x squared y. So let's start with the first one. 8 over 4 is 2, x squared will cancel, y squared over y, 2 minus 1, 1, so y to the power 1. 12 over 4 is 3, x, we have 1x here, we have 2. If you subtract 1 minus 2, it's going to be x to the power negative 1, but you have to move it to the denominator to make it positive. Here you have y squared divided by y, 2 minus 1 is positive 1, so y in the numerator. 8 over 4 is 2, y squared divided by y is y, and then x squared will stay in the denominator because we cannot simplify it. That would be the final answer. Let's try number 24. Dividing by long division. So we have to try to divide 2x squared plus 2x minus 24 divided by x plus 4. So it's already listed in the right order, and all we have to do is start the division. What's the number you multiply by x to give me 2x squared? That's 2x. 2x times x is 2x squared, and 2x times 4 is 8x. Subtract. Always we subtract. Change sign. Positive, negative. So these will cancel. Minus 8x plus 2x is minus 6x. Bring down the 24. What's the number you multiply by x to give you negative 6x? And that would be negative 6. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. Negative 6 times 4 would be negative 24. Change sign, this becomes positive, positive, 0, 0. So the answer here is 2x minus 6. Final answer. Let's try number 25. Now we have to use the synthetic division. With the synthetic division, what we need to do here is find the coefficients, list all the coefficients. We have 1, 6x squared, we have 6, minus 7x, we have negative 7, and we have 6. Since the dividing by x minus 3, we change it to plus 3. Bring down the 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Add. 6 plus 3 is 9. 3 times 9, 27. Add. This would be 20. And 3 times 20 is 60. Add. This would be 66. So this is, we end up with a remainder here. Let's try to make sure we did this right. We have x cubed. So that's a 1, 6x squared, that's a 6, negative 7x, that's a negative 7, plus 6, and this is divided by x minus 3, so we use this 3. Bring down the 1, multiply, 3 times 1, 3, add, 9, 3 times 9, 27, 27 minus 7 is 20, multiply, 3 times 20, 60, 60 plus 6 is 66. So this can be written as, since we started with x cubed, so this becomes x squared plus 9x plus 20 plus the remainder divided by the divisor, x minus 3. So that would be the final answer. Let's try number 26. For the polynomial p of x and the given c, use the remainder theorem to find p of c. So how do you find the p of c? we are given that p of x equals 4x cubed minus 4x squared minus 5x plus 3. We're going to find the remainder by substituting x equals negative 3. So let's find p of negative 3. That way we can find the remainder of the division of this whole polynomial by x plus 3. So 4 times negative 3 cubed minus 4 times negative 3 squared minus 5 times negative 3 and then plus 3. If you multiply negative 3 by itself 3 times, it's going to give you 27, and negative multiplied by itself 3 times, it would be negative, so that would be negative 27. Negative 3 multiplied by itself, it would be 9. 9 times negative 4 would be negative 36. So negative 3 squared is 9. 9 times negative 4 is negative 36. Negative 5 times negative 3 is plus 15. And then plus 3. And so if you multiply 4 times 7, 28. 8 carry 2. 4 times 2, 8. And 2, 10. So this is negative 108. Negative 36. Let's add them because they're both negative. 8 and 6, 14. Carry 1. 4. That's a negative 144. And then we're going to add 18 to it. So if you add 18, you're going to subtract this 18, 6, 2, 1, negative 126 is the final answer. So negative 126 is the final answer. Let's try number 27. Factor the following polynomial by grouping. To factor by grouping, we have to start with the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms. The first 2 terms, the common factor is a, and we end up with b plus 8. The last 2 terms, the common factor is 2, and we end up with b plus 8. Notice that we have b plus 8 here, b plus 8. We can take b plus 8 as common factor. We are left with a and plus 2. Final answer. Let's try number 28. Solve the rational. The best way to solve this rational equation is by cross multiply. You can cross multiply every time you have a fraction equal to a fraction. So 5x minus 15 equals 3x plus 21. So if you subtract 3x from both sides, and if you add 15 to both sides, that way you separate variables. This is 0 and this is 0. 5x minus 3x is 2x, and 15 plus 21 is 36. And therefore divide by 2, this would be 18. Final answer. Let's try 29. It's the same thing, we just did one similar. All you have to do is, if you factor difference of 2 squared, it's going to be x minus 32, x plus 32, and multiply everything by the lowest common denominator. And then make sure the answer does not equal to 32 or minus 32, otherwise you will have to reject. Number 30. Let's solve for a variable. This is a new one. How do you solve for the variable u? Cross multiply. So that would be SQ equals r minus u. You're looking for u, so let's get rid of the r. Subtract r from both sides. SQ minus r, these will cancel, negative u. We don't care about negative u, we care about u. Let's divide both sides by negative 1 or multiply both sides by negative 1. Let's multiply both sides by negative 1. So if you multiply both sides by negative 1, then you will end up with negative SQ plus R equals U, and you can change it to R minus SQ as the final answer. Alright, let's try the next one, which is number 31. Here we have to solve for x also. Every time you have fraction, the best way to solve is to simplify the fraction, multiplying every term by the lowest common denominator. In this case, m, n, x is the lowest common denominator, and let's multiply it by every one of these. Every one of these terms. So if you multiply mnx by the first term, the x will cancel and you end up with mn. Multiply it by the second term, the m will cancel, you end up with nx. Multiplying it by the third term, the n will cancel and you will end up with mx. And so since we are looking to solve for x, let's take x as common factor. So you end up with n plus m equals mn. Divide both sides by n plus m and you're done. And so x equals mn over n plus m. Okay, I hope you all have best luck. Let's try one more. A camel can drink 15 gallons of water in 10 minutes. So 15, that must be a proportion problem, gallons. And that's 10 minutes. At this rate, how much water can the camel drink in 13 minutes? So let's do it this way. 10 out of 15 is 13 minutes out of x. So minutes, gallons, and then minutes, gallons. Every time you have a fraction equal to the fraction, you can cross multiply. Then x equals 15 times 13 and then divide both sides by 10. Alright, hope you had fun with this recording and I wish you all the best luck.